It's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcast. The show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards is The Outer Realm, and that's in the category of Best Female Hosted Podcast. The Outer Realm is a popular show hosted by Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano, which has millions of listeners each week. They are well known for their laid-back, roundtable style of interviewing. Together, this dynamic duo brings you the best of the best with guests from around the world who are well-versed within their respective fields of ufology, paranormal, cryptozoology, folklore, and anything else that would be deemed outside the realm of normal. Michelle is an international public figure who has spent the last 2 decades working in the international paranormal community in research and media. Amelia is a remote viewing medium with 10 years of working with missing children, as well as cold and active murder cases. So go to podcastawards.com to nominate The Outer Realm in the category of Best Female Hosted Podcast. That's podcastawards.com. It's super easy. So just please take a moment and get out and go vote.
Welcome to The Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Wednesday night segment of The Outer Realm. We are broadcasting live on United Public Radio Network 105.3 FM from the beautiful city of New Orleans. We are fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers Coffee, who are responsible for bringing us to you guys every Wednesday and Thursday night with all the amazing guests that you guys get to watch and learn along with us. Also, big thank you, Dr. Snick, a.k.a. Justin Snicker, the Sonic Surgeon, for his sponsorship of our intro and outro. He's an award-winning composer of Halloween, horror, sci-fi, and dark wave electronic music, which can be found anywhere good music can be found. Okay, as always in the news, Podcast Awards. Have you voted? Gosh, guys, we've got 5 shows here on the network, and yours truly, Outer Realm, come on, best female hosted podcast. Go check it out, podcastawards.com. We only have to the end of the week to vote, so please go and show us some love-ins. In order to partake in the chat rooms, there are 8. As always, we are airing on Joe Montaldo UFO Undercover, which is on Facebook. We've got news on the flip side. The Outer Realm, of course, Canada's most haunted UFO Paranormal United Public Radio. Then we slip over to YouTube for UFO Gods and Extraterrestrials, UFO Paranormal Radio, and The Outer Realm. Mm-hmm. So I see here, okay, people are lining up already. God, that's fantastic. So Ken, Tamara, Adriana, Zachman, Dolly, hello, yeah. Dolly. I always want to break out in song when
I sing it, right?
Hello, I know. I just want to Dolly, do it. So I know. So you're back, and thank you, Ken, for voting. Thank you, Tamara, for voting.
Thank you.
We're so appreciative. Thank you
very much. So it's such an honor just to be nominated. Honestly, it's not cliche. It's a huge honor, especially so young.
It's like we're just sitting here getting ready to do our award acceptance speech.
No, it's just
we're so honored.
I know. It's just because we're such a young show, right? It's the only time I can say we're so young. Yeah, we're such a young show. Yeah,
I know.
So hi,
it's
Marisol. Just it's really hello.
I know.
It's an honor.
It is.
It
is an honor. I think it's fantastic. It's great to see so many. And I voted. Thank you, Dolly.
Thank you,
nice
Tamara.
Messages coming up. Look at that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You make our week. If we don't see you there, we'd be very worried.
I know. Yeah. We have our regulars, and I have to say, Zach, man, I know you've got a lot going on, but we've been missing you as well.
Yeah,
But
we notice.
it is great. It is great because it's just, it's like seeing that familiar face in the crowd when you're publicly doing things. You always look for the people. It's the same thing, even looking in chat. It's really fantastic. And you guys already you are Adrian, or you're irregular. Yeah, but we
Irregular.
see you quite a bit.
Depends
So-
what context you put that in.
And Tamara says the only time she's not here is if she falls asleep. Well, it happens.
I
it
understand that
happens.
one.
I know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You know what? Realistically speaking, we are really fortunate to have so many people who listen, and we're grateful. We're very grateful for that. You make us want to keep going. And I'm always forever, searching, seeing what everybody is interested in when it comes to content. And we both do a lot of research, and we know what you guys like. Yeah. Well, thank you, Zach.
Thanks, Zach.
We missed you also.
If you notice, I need a haircut. But anyways.
Yeah, missing all the girls talk.
Yes.
But
yes, it's driving me insane.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So anyway, that's we keep forging ahead, and we are booking, of course, now into November. I think we're into the middle of the end of November, December.
Right after spooky month.
December has spooky month. We leave gaps in there, for special content. Just like December, we actually leave gaps in there for special content, and it's not because it's all spooky time. It's because it's a special time of the month. It's the holidays. It's a very important holiday for people, and people. Some people are really sad at that time. So we try to give you content that is really enlightening and just makes you feel really good. We're very, very careful about what we bring. We don't always want to bring. I mean, I like spooky stuff at Christmas. Victorians used to love telling spooky ghost stories at Christmas, and I'm all down for that. But not everybody shares that sentiment. So I have to be a little delicate with that, But we try to be really careful. Okay. Something new.
Yeah, we learn from you as well. Yeah.
And our guests. We all learn from our guests as well.
Oh my gosh, yes. Tons.
Spooky. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spooky Val.
Can we ask questions yet? Okay. You know what?
Start typing.
We can shortly. I want to actually respond. I've had thank you. To detox at the end of the day. I'm glad we're like a good detox show.
You uplift us just seeing you there.
There we go. So I had an email today. I guess that we had a couple of people who tuned into the Gray Zone this past Saturday. And it was a really, really good show. We talked a lot about UFOs in the news, the disclosure a little bit. We touched on a lot, and there was so much good content. We actually didn't even get to everything in the show. And what seems to be coming up here is there's a lot of stuff. And I only wanted to bring it up because I watched a show last night. Thank you, Marisol. I watched a show last night that seemed to be based on fear. UFOs, extraterrestrial experiences, and fear. And I don't think that's, I don't think that's really right. I think it really has to be biased. There has to be two sides to the coin, because there are so many people out there who have unbelievably amazing experiences, seeing extraterrestrials, or some people have been healed. Some people have been given knowledge. Some people have been given abilities or having their abilities woken up. And then there is the other side of the coin, where some people have not had the greatest of experiences. But, Joe and I really talked in detail about both sides of the coin. And watching the show last night, I'm like, you know what? It was all fear-based. It's all red flag based. And I'm like, you know what? I normally PVR these things and watch them, but I just sat back and looked at this. I can't watch something that is so one-sided, because things are not always what they seem. So when you're seeing something, it's not necessarily, them. maybe it's somebody here. Reverse technology, things like that. It exists. It happens. A lot of people have been hypnotized, and only to find out that, oh, wait, it wasn't them. And I'm going to leave it right there. I don't want to get into that really deep. I'm happy to ask all kinds of questions. I'm happy to answer questions on that. I just don't feel that the public is being given all the proper knowledge. I understand that military and government have to be aware. If they can reverse engineer, maybe other governments and militaries can reverse engineer, and they have to watch the skies. They have to be aware. But guess what? In doing so, a lot of money gets pumped into those programs. And at the end of the day, that plays a very big part of it. Okay. So not everything is what you're hearing about. It's that simple. Yeah. Aliens are more scared of us. I believe that in some cases as well. Marisol.
Oh, she says, I'm not afraid anymore with my experiences. Things have changed so much for me. We're happy to hear that.
Yeah, fantastic. Because I'll tell you something. I got a couple of emails that I had to respond to today. And one individual was terrified. She goes, well, I listened to the show, and, and she listened all the time. She's a regular listener of the Gray Zone, and, which I was really grateful. And we have been covering a lot lately, on the disclosure and everything else. But you know what? Disclosure has been going on for a really long time. It really has. There's been information disclosed for freaking decades. Okay. And it's because media makes it out to be frightening. It is not all frightening. Okay. Two sides to every coin. Remember that.
Dolly says reverse engineering exists around the globe. I believe it. It can't just be one country.
No, exactly. Dolly, you just moved. You already have internet? Today was your moving day. That's outstanding. Here you are.
Zach said if governments are trying to cover up evidence of UFO technology, it is either done poorly or intentionally. I'm inclined to favor the latter. Absolutely.
Yep. It's
Hi, Wayne. Hello, brother.
Tamara, yeah, I agree with her.
Aliens are outing the governments. Oh, I believe so.
Also,
AT craft are not flying here right now. Our magnetosphere, sorry, I have to squint, is too dangerous for them.
Oh. Okay.
Can we get some of that?
Yeah. Mobile hotspot is what I think you meant to say. Yes,
that's okay. We'll take spit.
Okay. Yes. And Zach said, okay, intentionally. Or poorly intentionally.
Sorry.
I get it.
You could have written that and I wouldn't have seen it because I'm squinting. I'm like blind when it comes to reading, but I can see 10 miles away and I could read a street sign from like 2 kilometers, but
that's funny.
Up close, I'm completely blind. But it's LASIK surgery. That's why.
So let's all bear that in mind. So do we have any questions pertaining to any of this before we move on? Because I know that we're waiting for questions. Adrian's good to go. Okay. Okay. So any questions pertaining to this? Hi, Carol. Now would be a good time while we're on it. Any comments, anything like that? Because, Dolly's here too. She'll educate you right from the chat room.
Yeah.
So she's one to ask too.
Absolutely.
So. But again.
Well, she's on YouTube. So if they're writing on Facebook, then we'll read them out. Yeah.
Yeah, she's on YouTube and we'll put them up. And again, Dolly's been on the show a couple of times and she's fully aware of all of that, being consciously aware of her contact and so on. Go check out her interview with us with Preston Dennett. It was just a few weeks ago, beginning of the month. You'll find it and be educated.
I heard Preston's voice the other day. I've got the History Channel on, of course, and and I hear this voice. I'm like, wait a minute, I know that. That's been happening a lot lately, but because of all the guests that we have. But it's really weird when you've really spent a lot of time with one of the guests and you consider them a friend. So it's just bizarre that they're in your living room and yet they live so far away.
Hey, Tyler.
Yeah. Adrian wants to know, have either of you ever levitated before?
Not to my knowledge.
Not that I
Asleep.
know of. No. Although it looks really cool. I really believe that in order to levitate, like because you want to levitate, I really believe in the same way as the Buddhists, where you have to be at a super high frequency and mind to do that. That's just my thoughts. The other way is a really dark way to do that. But that's just my answer.
I think Dolly levitated from the time she was like a baby, pretty much.
Frequency,
so, yeah. So, comment here.
Marisol says, when I was aware of my experience with the angelic ones, I thought I lost my mind. Really, the fear was the unknown for me. But now I know that both good and bad exist. They never hurt me ever. Yeah. Everything's balance, right? So where there's light, there's dark. Where there's negative, there's positive. I mean, that's just yin yang. It's all however you put it.
I agree with you on that too.
Thank you. Tamara says, here is a question. Do you think portals are more prevalent now?
Take it away, Dolly. We were just talking about portals.
It's a big one right now. It's a big topic right now because of the shift going on.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I think, are they more prevalent? Oh my gosh. I think the portals have always been very important. I mean, the ancients thought so as well. They built, everything around them. The fact that these things can just sort of show up. I mean, you have your normal vortices that are there, but realistically speaking, are they more prevalent? I don't know. Do you think maybe that we notice more?
I'm with you on that one. I think we're just more aware and more open. There's internet. There's a wider discussion. I love Wayne's comment. To quote one of Michelle's sons, and I'm pretty sure I know which one, if you want to levitate, Wayne, just piss off Michelle and you'll levitate.
Yes, I guess I
when you ask if either one of us is levitated, did you mean by on purpose or
like for real?
No, because I just when Wayne said that, I realized that I may have read that wrong, so I apologize. And if it's different, let me know. They are harder to pin down.
Why would they be harder to pin down, Dolly? Let's just go with that. Like right now, why do you
the
find
portals you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you want to just add to
intentional. Okay, thank you, Adrian. I answered it the way I interpret it. Okay.
Tyler, just send us a message at
just
go
real.
Michelle DeRoche contact at Michelle DeRoche contact at gmail.com. If you can see that comment, Amelia, I'm just going to leave it right there.
I can't. No.
Okay,
it's not moving for me. Hold on.
But
what comment? Sorry.
By Tyler. Yeah, Tyler.
No, I don't. Where is it? Is it further up?
Facebook.
Oh, I see. Right. Hello,
So
Michelle.
Michelle DeRoche contact at gmail.com, and we'll work with you and get that rectified.
Okay. Oh yeah, definitely contact Michelle.
Okay. So, okay, go.
Zachman. I believe they've always been there. It has just been talked about more recently, and I think portals are always opening up and closing every day. Yeah, some of them don't close.
No, that's true. Yeah. Natural ones, especially.
Yeah, and Wayne says, I think we're just more aware of our surroundings, and because of that, and technology, camera phones, we're seeing more evidence of portals as well as dimensional rifts, etc.
Sure are.
Absolutely.
I agree with that. It's a good one. It's kind of interesting because there's a portal in the area down this way, and you can actually see it every now and then in the night sky, and it just, you see light push out, and it just goes and sucks back in, and it's just like, the hell was that?
You and I drove by one once. You came to pick me up to come over to work, and yes, Michelle will pick me up. I don't know why she doesn't let me drive. Very protective. But we love our drives together because we can chat. But
that's true.
We were driving, and remember I said to you, it's a big giant portal, and it was all ripple. Do you remember that day?
Yeah,
it was in the afternoon, and I went, oh, mother effer, this thing is huge. And it was in a place where you would expect it to be if you know the area, but I didn't know the area, so it really threw me.
Right.
Yeah, because those were the back roads. Those weren't the main roads. Oh,
There's
Dolly
Ollie's
says,
answer.
yeah,
Harder to pin down.
while the sun is ramping up, they are less.
Okay, so let's go with ramping up. Maybe you can explain that also if you have a minute.
Are we talking about just massive portals? Because I've had portals in my home, like small ones, and
yes. Well, I think just on average around lately. Yeah, see, there you go. Again, are we just noticing it more?
I believe we're noticing it more.
Yeah, people have more time to see. I guess people, you know what it is? It's like stop and smell the roses sort of a situation. I think it's a matter of being more aware of your surroundings, perhaps.
Well, like Chris said, when we slowed down because of the pandemic, people had time to see. People were also noticing that their homes were haunted back then too. Back then, I make it sound like it was 10 years ago. It feels like 10 years have passed.
Back in the day when I was your age.
But it feels like 10 years, doesn't it?
Know.
Tamara says, I have seen a bird and a plane suspended in the sky as well. You know, it's funny that you say that, Tamara, because I saw a lot of videos.
Yes.
When I was doing the paranormal TikTok thing, which I posted on our page. If you haven't seen it, we're going to talk about it later. And I did see a plane and for some reason a flag, and it wasn't moving, and the car's moving on the highway, and her daughter just noticed it because dash cams are picking up all kinds of stuff.
It's true. Some people say it's a glitch in the matrix. I'm just like, okay.
We need to give some credit to that, but you also have to know that a good chunk, like 90% of those videos that are on there, are forged and doctored and faked. But the one I posted on our timeline is
for sure.
Yeah, if you had a chance, I hope so. It's really quick, and it is shocking. Solar maximum. Okay,
that's Dolly's answer.
Our poles are in a huge shift now. Energy is chaotic.
Right.
Yeah,
okay,
that's for
interesting.
Sure. It is crazy, right?
Hey, we are in crazy times. Adrian says
there's a lot of stupid out there right now. I'm just going to put that out
there.
Don't
get me started on
There is a lot of stupid out there right now.
Oh my gosh, I could do a show on it.
And I really feel sorry for all my friends who are named Karen. It's just not fair. It's not fair that you guys got that moniker attached to you now. But there is a lot of people out there, male and female, and non-binary, that are like that. And it's disturbing. And that's enough. I watched a woman harass a store owner, and they called the police. And while she was talking about her rights and everything, the cop goes, "Lady, just shut up," and cuffed her. Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. Adrian says, I have seen small portals where people ritually pray, and one in a stone chamber in New York State. It was crazy. Much more to that story. It's almost kind of spooky.
Yeah. Boo, boo, boo. Okay, go ahead, Zachman.
Had a portal open up in my old apartment. That demon was the roommate that wouldn't help with the rent and would mess with both my electricity and sleep schedule. You're fortunate that's all you got.
Yeah, that could actually happen. That can actually happen. Okay, so moving on from portals. Okay, so Amelia posted a video. Why don't you explain why you posted the video and its relevance, and we can all chime in, people. Okay.
There's like 10 different reasons why I posted it. First of all, I think that I believe, and I feel it true in my gut because of the work that we do, that some of us are filming too much, and we'll go into that after as to why. But this video, I'm watching these TikTok videos, and there's a lot of fear that is being created. You got to remember that there's no censorship on TikTok. So 18 and under are watching these things. There's doctored videos that are being watched. There's people who have fear, who are zealots. They're so radical with their religion. It's causing and creating issues. But my biggest problem with this is, I know a lot of this is for the likes, and what's happening with the going out there and provoking because of this. filming and then finding something that you didn't think was there and you thought it would just be fun to doctor something, be careful what you wish for. But I'm going to start with this. This is a poltergeist video that he's taking this video, and it's because he's hearing noise and he has had issues in his house. And all of a sudden there's this loud noise and his phone shakes and goes towards the floor, but there's no cut in the film. And when he lifts up the phone, everything is everywhere. There is no cut in the film. Okay, that's all I'm saying. There's no cut in the video. It's not doctored. There's not a pixel. Blew it up. It is shocking. Mm-hmm. So I want to know what other people think, because I'm still on the fence with it. I'm really curious about this because I think that poltergeists are not covered as often. We tend to just dismiss everything to entities.
Poltergeists are more common than a lot of demonic activity that people think that they're getting, because, you know, aside from people being able to project energy, okay, which is very easy to do. Psychokinesis is like super easy to do. A child could do it. It's just that easy to do. Women going through menopause, don't freaking mess around with us when we're going through freaking menopause, okay? We will tear the house up and not even do it.
Not me. I'll just eat your candy.
And the same with your teenagers just coming up to the teenage years. Just watch what happens. I've seen it firsthand. But, you know, it's really easy. And out of fear and out of anxiety and depression and emotions can create what's called poltergeist activity. And for every action, there is a reaction. So if you're going to project, if you're going to go in there and I mean, anger, you would think laughter, you think laughter would be a more powerful, I think it's a more powerful emotion, but you go in there and you get mad enough and you start imprinting all over the darn place. That's definitely going to cause problems. And it leaves its energy and its mark in time and space. Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. Creating poltergeist, projecting energy. Psychokinesis, just there's this one easy one. When we come across people who asks for assistance, it's the first thing that we look into is this self-induced. And it's not always easy to say, no, this is you. So I will often just send links.
No, but it is easy to see.
Here you go. Well, you know what? I'll send a link. This is what it means. If you see yourself in it, then okay. And a lot of times people are more grateful for that. Well, thank you for sending it. It's really...
Hi, Mama.
It's really, it's really good to know that not everything is the D word, and it really is not.
No.
Young people are energy. I agree with that.
I would rather find out that it's PK, because then I can do something about it. That's not as drastic as an exorcism or a mass of my house.
That's true.
But what I also wanted to say, actually, we'll take her comment before I switch over to the other video, which I did not post, and I'll tell you why.
We've got a few comments here.
Yeah, Tamara says poltergeist activity is not a joke. You need to ask yourself why this is happening. Look at logical reasons why, and you can stop it with the right help.
Of course you can. Mindset.
This I don't want to say it was real or it was fake. I'm just telling you I couldn't find a cut in anything of that film, and I'm curious what you guys think. It's still on our Facebook page. Let us know in the comments on there later. But there was one that I didn't post, and I'm going to explain why I was watching these TikTok paranormals. For one, Bishop James Long is a friend of ours, and he's on there and he comments, and that's what piqued my interest, was one of the videos he saw and how they were doing EVPs with demonic voices, and it just upset me. So I started looking at that person's video and then other ones that they were. And these are people who are well known in the field. They're not just anybody. They have a huge following. They've been on television, some of them, and they're putting up that portal machine, the ghost boxes, and they're having these conversations. And then I'm going to let Michelle take it from here. It's not safe. And when you're listening to that loud on your phone and you're sharing it with your friends, I'm going to let Michelle take it from here.
Well, you get bleed through.
Yeah.
It's the same. Try to look at it this way. A lot of researchers prefer to use, like I really am old school. I like old audio cassette recorders when I'm recording, but you only use one side because you get a bleed through. I just don't like the pingy sound in digital, but I mean, it's getting better too. I'm just old school. It's like using a Polaroid camera or a camera with film. You can't fudge a negative, but once it hits a computer, you can fudge the photo, right? But when you're listening to EVPs, there's a strong belief that it bleeds out into the atmosphere. And if it does that, then you end up, getting yourself in a lot of trouble. And again, I think it's mindset. I think you listen to something and you get really scared. I mean, I've got some like demonic, let's say, voice recordings that would like really turn your hair into an afro or curl your toes. It's unbelievable.
Scary. Yeah.
And my young adult children at the time, when they were young adults, like, oh, you want to play with my friends? I'm like, what?
Oh, no, because I'm not clearing that house.
I'm going to all your friends' houses and fixing them because you think this is a good time.
Adriana said bone chilling. It's true. When it's real because the hair on the back of your neck and all the way down your spine stands up, and like it's
for sure. But it will.
And Adrian said, "Did you hear the guttural growl at the start of that video? It overlapped the voice of the person speaking."
Yeah,
I actually didn't until you commented, and then I went back to listen to it. I had liked your comment, and I went back and
hours of it.
That is the reason why he started to film, was because he was hearing noises, and that's what it was. Thank you, Adrian, for that. It's I'm going to tell you, you're going to find it hard pressed to try and say that video is doctored, to say it's fake. I think it's going to be hard for a lot of people. So far, everybody who's been on there and watched it has told me, I can't see anything faked in this. So it's really interesting because it's very seldom that you will find a video on social media for the biggest part of it, never mind online, but on social media that is this, looks this credible. I don't want to say it is or it isn't because, like I said, I don't have the software to run it through.
Determine it yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
I just thought it was worth
real
watching.
Disembodied sounds, like demonic sounds or certain things that have really low frequencies, will come in at a certain level on the scale. Like they come in really, really low on an EVP scale, unlike, let's say, a human voice. So I don't like to get into the techie part of all that. I've always worked with people who really get themselves involved and more interested in the science part of the EVP. I'm more into the capture and the communication. And you know what? I've been doing this a fucking long time, and there's not one time where I will throw caution to the wind with it. I get a little bit funny when I'm actually in communication with something because of this comment. They try to scare you to get a response along those same lines. So when I've been called pretty much every name in the book on an EVP, and for some reason they seem to think the C word offends me. It does not. I'm just like, I know. We're getting to that point,
Yeah.
And I'm just like, sorry, you're having a bad day, but it's just, I laugh it off. I'm very nonchalant about it. I just will not give that fear. And believe me, there are things I've heard and I have recordings of where I'm taken aback a little bit. The very first time I heard something come through a phone at me, I was called an FNC, and I was just like, what the party mouth is
you don't
this?
Even know me.
That's exactly the best I could come up with. What party mouth is this? Are you kidding me? And I realized, and I could hear the growling and everything in its voice, and it was like grumbling really low, and the dogs in the background were going crazy. And I'm thinking, okay, so there was nobody in the house. She put the phone down. She goes, I have to the mailman's coming up the walk. I'm just going to run down the back stairs and drop this off. I'm just going to lay the phone down and be right back. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. And I don't think anything of it, you know, and I heard her go down the stairs. I heard the door open. I could hear her talk to the postman. And all of a sudden, the dogs just went crazy. She had a Doberman, an Afghan, I think, and a couple of Chihuahuas. Of course, the Chihuahuas are the most fierce ones, you know, and
They're
they
the
were
loudest.
all crazy. And all of a sudden, it sounded like somebody picked up the phone and was playing with it. I'm going, I know it's not one of the dogs, but the house was really haunted. Could have been, you know, spirit, whatever. And it was really, really like I could hear this low growling. And then all of a sudden it goes, you effing. I was like, oh.
Yeah, you really know me. We must have met before.
Oh my, yeah, right. I'm like, I had hours of that stuff.
I can tell you when I hear that stuff, I just stand back because it's usually with Michelle. So I just stand back and let her deal with it.
Yeah.
I don't speak.
I just sit there. I'm just like,
I'm very good at just letting Michelle take over. That's not my strength.
No, it's my strength.
You need to know. You need to know what your strengths are with stuff like this. Don't try to challenge anything.
No.
Tamara says, you are grounded and well-informed, Michelle, but when inexperienced people who are not stable hear it, it becomes very dangerous, and then you're called in.
100%.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. And Chris Bob says, I love to have dogs in the house. First line of defense. They will see and hear anything before you, even for a medium. They will see, my dog will see and hear things long before I do.
And some researchers actually use dogs on investigations for that reason.
Celebrity ghost investigator on television uses his dog.
That's right.
Yeah.
There are many now who've taken to doing it. I have mixed feelings about it.
I don't like it.
I agree that they can definitely sense things, but what people don't realize is these things can attach to animals.
Yeah, use a camera.
And the animal can't just say to you, something's wrong. Something's wrong. There's something that's, you know, something's not right with me, you know, and the animal is being tormented because they know, you know, this is a mistake that people often make, is they don't realize that these entities out there, being human or non-human, are clever enough to know the difference as to whether this animal is going to can't speak for itself. When we do clearings, we always ask for photos of the animals as well.
Animals and children. Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. Tyler says, I have been called out on spirit boxes on many investigations. I believe it. And it's so, you know, you have a spirit box, but a dog can't defend themselves. And when people say to me, well, how do you know like a dog can be evil, blah, blah, blah. Well, just watch The Omen, damn it.
Yeah, what
seriously, man. The first one, there's dogs everywhere protecting him.
They try to
Who is the one, even in the remake was really good. And who's protecting him? I love how they brought Mia Farrow back for that as his nanny.
Right.
Yeah.
But just heads up,
film.
people, you know, it really can be, frightening. What you see on television, this is how we started the show. You know, people with this show that I watched, only now we're talking paranormal. There's so much out there. Just because you're on TV doesn't mean that's how things should be done. You have to understand that people who put these shows on are more interested about the ratings. That's the idea. TV shows cost a lot of money. Yeah. They need to make that money back and sponsors, more. That's the name of the game. So you are going to end up, you know, with they want it to be dramatic. They want you to be scared. That's the plan. But at the end of the day, there are more people who go out and want to investigate. Like, I love this. I want that thrill. I want to go out and have these experiences. But you can't base yourself on what you see on television. There's one thing I've always been complimented on, and I'm so humble, is that people have always said to me, we like how you explain things because you do it in a way that we can understand what you're talking about. And I agree, because there's a lot of things that go on out there that people are like, what? What does that mean exactly? So they don't know. It's not really properly explained. A lot of these shows are not always there to help the family, or they're in a location where they're trying to amp up the activity. But what happens when you go home and that family, just happens to be left alone after you've been in there instigating things?
Opening portals for all you know.
If you don't have the experience to do it, then please, and this is no disrespect intended, maybe spend more time investigating haunted locations that are open to the public, that might have, or maybe somebody who's got a haunted place that's, benign enough. They're not looking to get rid of their spirits. They're not looking for help. They're just come on in and interact with the spirits. Just don't be an a-hole about it. Just come in and do proper investigation. Because when you start involving families in trouble, or who may not be in trouble until you get in there, and all of a sudden, things start up, then you have lives at stake here. And it really is, because lives can get ruined if something comes in there and starts causing issues, and you have no idea how to get rid of them, because you have no idea what you're doing. Mm-hmm. It is not cut and dry. It really isn't. There's a way of doing everything. As similar as everything is, it's all different. Why? Because most spirits are different. A lot of entities are different. They have the same MO, but they're different. The people are different. We are all unique. We all react differently. Every situation in our lives is different from that of our neighbors or our siblings, or it's all different. So please, please, please don't.
She's saying it with love.
With love.
Yes. With love and concern. Absolutely.
Really? Yeah, because it could attach to you. We help a lot of investigators with attachments, just saying.
God, let's not even go. That's a whole other show.
Yes.
That's a whole other show, especially when there's a safety net. Kara West asks, I'm curious what your beliefs are as far as dream catchers go. Do they actually help catch bad dreams? My son and I have been having some bad ones lately, possibly sleep paralysis the other night. Wondering if I should get one and where to get a legit one. Actually, I got a better answer for you.
Go. Yeah, we'll check in, but go to a native reservation.
Yeah,
because they really make beautiful ones, and I feel it's all about intention. Not only the intention of what is projected while creating a dream catcher, it's also your intention with respect to, do you believe it works? Because if you don't, then it's just another ornament. I truly believe that.
Kind of like a crucifix. Yeah.
Yeah. If you feel it will help you, it will. Mm-hmm. It will. I seriously believe that a lot of what we go through has to do with our mindsets. But sleep paralysis, that's a whole other show. I mean, Joe and I did a show on the Gray Zone of just sleep paralysis. There's that much information out there.
Yeah. It's probably even more.
Yeah, it could be different things for sure. Okay, we're just going to keep going back down.
Chris Bob says, when I cleanse and seal a house, pets are to be included so I can protect them too. You're a good man, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, exactly. Because they can use them as vessels to bounce as well. It's not just a matter of attaching to the dog, but it can bounce off to anyone else in the household. Just they're easier targets. They're easier,
No, I 100% agree with you on that, Amelia.
Thank you. I learned from the best.
You cheating on me?
No, always you. Zachman, that just doesn't sound right. We don't swing that way. We're just more like sisters. Even better, because we don't yell at each other. Zachman says, if I ever go on an investigation, I will go with people I trust and have the experience. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
Also, hold on.
Yes,
Another
and
good
no
point
provoking.
Right here.
Yes.
Sorry.
Mimicking. Tamara, I love that she's so on top of everything. Mimicking can confuse and scare people and cause so much trauma. Good Lord. Yes.
Lots of great comments coming in tonight.
Yeah. Chris Bob says you need to know what you're doing or you can cause more harm. Absolutely. Boy, does that ring true. And I believe that a lot of investigators go in with the greatest of intentions to help. Not all of them are there, for their experience in that, but they could have been, I don't know, maybe taught by the wrong people or worked with the wrong people or not know. We're always learning how to deal with things and how to, how to work on that side. And it's not great when you think you know it all, is what I'm trying to say.
Nobody ever knows it all.
No, and
you don't.
And you're always learning how to deal with things.
Exactly.
Sorry, I was just getting a sharp pain in my jaw. That's why I stumbled there for a second.
That's
Kelly
okay.
Crawford, would you or so you teach how to do it right or just fix or screw up?
I've spent 20 years fixing screw ups and teaching people.
Hand in hand, continually.
No, education is very important. I have educated people. I used to have a really long waiting list, especially going in person, and I don't do in person anymore. And I used to work with people online. I still work with people online. I still work with people over the phone, email, things like that. And it's all been an educational process to the point that, like I said, at one time it was like a year and a half. But by the time I actually was able to get to them, they were already clear because they were able to do it themselves. That's important. But it's like I always tell people that we help. We're only half of the equation. You guys are the other half. If you don't do what we instruct you to do, we can't always be the safety net. You guys are more in control than you believe. People are more in control if the mind is right. Believe me when I tell you, a lot of it starts all in here. Everything you're experiencing around you can be controlled in here. I always say what you mean what you say, follow through. I use those 3 things in every aspect of my life. So if you're sitting here and you're like, no, this is my house, be respectful. Don't go confronting anything, but this is my house. This is the way it is. This is how it's going to be. And you start being proactive at taking it back, and don't falter because they know you're going to falter. And then you may as well just take a step back and give him back the steering wheel.
Yeah, it's like dealing with an ex.
See, right there. Exactly.
Yeah, you have to set boundaries, like you do with people. You have to set boundaries.
Okay, now I'm going to go back again because Dolly made a comment.
So I'll read Kira's first.
Getting back to Kira, yeah.
Okay, Kira's, okay, she's continuing on the street paralysis. I'm not sure if I was awake or still in a bad dream, but I couldn't yell or move, and it felt like something was holding me down.
It does feel like that, and there's a lot of reasons as to why.
Oh, everyone experiences sleep paralysis,
I have a couple of times. It is terrifying.
I haven't. If you wake up frozen, tell yourself to wake up and intend it. I'll say that again. If you wake up frozen, tell yourself to wake up and intend it. There's another trick that I learned. I can't remember when it was, but when you're dreaming, if you think you're dreaming and you don't know if you're dreaming or if you're awake, if you put something with numbers written on it, like on the ceiling, or tape it to the ceiling or to where you would see it, or if you have a clock, digital clock, and you can see it, if you can read it, you're awake. If you can't read it, you're asleep, because when you're in the sleep state, everything's just...
That's true.
You can't read numbers when you're sleeping. You can't read them out. You're actually told them in a dream. You're not really looking at them.
Well, that's interesting.
But Adrian says, how often do you discover the cause of a haunting or poltergeist activity? I will leave it to the master.
Where?
Where? Well, it ain't me.
This is just my thought on it. How often? I think if you know how to deal with people, it's a lot easier. I even got into taking counseling just so I can learn how to communicate with people better, because I realize a lot is in the delivery. You don't want to say, no, this is all you, you're crazy. You would say anything like that. It would be like, no, it would be like, well, what are you going through right now?
No.
First off, you have to ask the hard questions, like, are you on any kind of medication? Do you or anyone in the family suffer from mental health? Do you have a history of it in the family? Are you going through anything right now? Are there any
Are you
addiction
in
issues?
therapy?
Are there any, anxiety issues, depression? I mean, you have to go through a whole gambit of questions.
It's very personal.
It
Yeah.
is. That's what I'm saying. Every situation is different. I'm not just kidding. I've had people just say, oh, well, you do this, I'm going to do this. No, because I do this because this is the situation I'm working with.
Can I just add to this quickly?
Yes.
Because I'd
Yes.
love you to elaborate on this. And
Yes.
the person that you're speaking to has to be completely honest. You're not
That's
being
right.
judged.
That's right. It's true. It isn't about judging anybody, but a lot of it comes from experience. I know that certain people, certain times of their lives, like for women, going through puberty is a very emotional thing. Young children can be very emotional. They're going through changes. Women going through menopause, really emotional. And it's not just women, but that is pretty much this is pretty much something that is it's a given. So I look at every situation. You can usually tell just by the answers that you get, if you pay proper attention, who's going through something in the house. Are they the only one experiencing something? Is everybody in the house experiencing something? And I also know what to look for when I'm dealing with malevolent entities.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes those entities, people, are extraterrestrial. And then bit of a game changer, because then you have to start thinking back. How far back? A lot of times it goes back to childhood. There's a really fine line between some of the things that we look for in scenarios between malevolent entities and extraterrestrials, right down to the sounds, right down to the behaviors. There's just a lot. Even, going through my own life, I would look at things and go, this, and this, and realize, you know what? I have a feeling it was this, and this. So I think most of the time, if you know what you're doing, going back to Adrian's question, you can peg it and you can deal with it. It really is easy. If you can get the people to recognize it, they'll work with it. I don't think it's as complicated as a lot of people think.
I love Wayne's advice. Do you want to read it, or you want?
No, you're right. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wayne says, if you wake in a sleep paralysis state, it also helps to really vocalize your intent to wake up. You almost need to shout it in order to break the spell. That helped me once in a bad waking moment. Thanks, Wayne.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't speak like that. He doesn't have a Disney voice. Tamara, the only true control you have is your response to everything. Yeah, it's kind of like when you're dealing with people. Practice the pause. You can't be a Karen in the paranormal. That's all I'm saying.
No,
I have a really hard time with those videos because I think people are putting them on to get likes and to get followers, and they don't. And they could be stirring. I think a lot of them are going to be in trouble, stirring things up.
I don't think that there are people who I agree with you. It is for like if you're on YouTube, for example, if you get a certain amount of subscribers, you get people, who put ads on your, on your channel, things like that. So people can actually make money at it. I think it's great. However, there's this one, like I'll say this briefly because I'm not going to name names, but I came across this one channel because one of my sons was looking at it. He goes, "What do you think of this?" I'm like, "Oh, what are you watching now?" Right? Kids are adults. So I was like, "Oh, all right." And I looked at it, and he goes, "Oh, this guy does a lot of really crazy things." And like one was, I'm going to open up this divot box, and he gets it in the mail.
I saw that
he opens it all up, right? And next thing you know, over the course of a week, all this stuff's happening. And he's trying to send it back. Well, good luck, guy. I don't think this is going to happen. The thing's not going back in the box just because you want it to,
My mom has a good point too.
another one went. They went to this desert and they faced two mirrors together, and they started doing all this crazy stuff. And one of the mirrors smashed, and
Yeah, you don't have to go to the desert to do that. Don't do it.
They were in an area where I guess where a lot of people disappeared, and they were trying to. I don't know. I'm watching this because I ended up watching it just for for fun, and I'm like, why?
Yeah,
I still couldn't get around the logic of it. You know what I mean?
That's why I was watching those videos. I wanted to see what this big draw was. And they're getting them with such doctored crap. It's not funny.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that Skinwalker one, I'm still questioning that one because I can't find anything with that one. But they'll have like an image of a child come across, and when I share them on our page, it's because I'm looking for your opinion. I'm not saying this is real or this is fake. I'm curious to how everybody sees this. I want to know your perspective and what your gut feeling is, Dolly says our bodies are very precise mechanisms. If you're not operating properly, poop happens. I can't say the other word.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's all stuff, we all have to, like I said, for every action, there's a reaction. We all have to be responsible for our own actions. I'm sorry, if you're going to do something silly, there's going to be a consequence. It reminds me of a time where I was at this, I guess I was helping Wayne at a Comic-Con, and somebody sent this little girl over to me with her father, and the girl was there, and I bet she was like 11, and she had all this ghost hunting equipment. And I'm looking at her going, oh, and the father, turns out he was a single dad, traveled a lot, and he bought her all this stuff because she watched ghost shows. Then he says, well, you know what? He goes, there's things going on in the house. Doors are opening and closing by themselves. I'm hearing footsteps. And I'm like, and your child is how old? She's 11, she just wants to play with this stuff.
I remember this.
Clearly,
I fell off my chair. Yeah,
she's like pre-pubescent,
and she's doing great.
I know. I said, I really think, I left my numbers. I really think this is probably about 4 or 5 years ago, that you should contact me because things are going to get worse and she will be affected. Oh no, she's fine.
I remember you telling me this
and
story.
That's how it was left.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, okay. And that's a kid,
There was another one that we did. She was only 8 or 9, and he bought her all that equipment. Big old house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. You know what? It comes to a point you expect it from children. I think people are very open with it because it's so open on television. They think it's all okay. But again, when we get back to, researchers who go in, and I've spent like almost a couple of decades cleaning up messes and people who have gone in, either made situations a lot worse or created something altogether. I'm sorry, but just because there's a website, just because there's a Facebook group page, there has to be at least one person in the group who has a lot of experience. I mean, I've heard of groups going in there and everybody's just drinking and they're spirit investigating in somebody's house. I command you do this. What?
Oh wow.
Who do you command anything? And then you get to go home and the families are picking up your
That's what I mean.
Mess.
They're learning from the wrong people. That's what I just want to. Oh, okay. I was going to read.
We'll get to that, and then we'll get
Mama LeBlanc's comment because it sounds like you.
Okay,
it sounds like you. Now I know where you came from.
Okay, go ahead.
I have
Tamara's?
to.
Yeah.
Oh, Tamara, sorry. Parents need to be aware of what they are exposing their children to. Yeah, but the thing is, I agree with you 100%. But the thing is, if they're not aware,
no, it's true.
They can't be if they think it's just a game, just like a Ouija board, right? Ouija boards.
Oh, don't get me started on that.
Yeah. Okay. So. It's Pauline LeBlanc says, "Hi, Mama. I missed you." Says Chinese proverb: "He who stirs the pot must lick the spoon." True enough. Yes,
absolutely.
I can see Michelle.
What? Okay, and we're going to come to this before we move. We're going to keep moving down.
I'm her favorite. Tony says we are being lied to in every arena, especially with regards to ET. That I agree.
100%, especially in regards to ET,
Yeah.
because you know what? Lots of money can be made
by
fighting
invoking
against
fear.
the idea
Yeah.
of false flags and ETs.
Invoking fear.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Hollywood makes tons of money on those films. Don't forget that.
That too.
And if they were
I'm talking
benign,
military.
they wouldn't be able to make those films.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm talking about military as well.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, hundreds of millions of dollars a year more, you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Adriana. Hi, Adriana says, or even apparel with symbology, that is Ouija board gifts, apparel, etc. Oh my gosh, there is a lady I saw again on TikTok, tattooed it on her back.
Huh.
Like, where's the planchette? It's different. It's different. It must have been damn painful because that was a big tattoo.
Wow.
It's different. I've seen people have coffee tables, tablecloths. I've seen it done on shoes, but again, intention and what you're doing, you can do that with
a phone app. Nothing's sacred anymore.
Not even just that. You can just ask for it. You don't even need the, you really don't need it. So it's yeah. Zachman says, I always find it hypocritical that you must be 21 to drink, smoke, and gamble, yet you can play with Ouija boards at age 9. Actually, a lot younger. They cater the boards to, I think it's 6. Yeah, they're pink and blue. Toys R Us. You don't need a Ouija board, though.
No, you don't.
A lot of people who really take it seriously literally just put a glass upside down with a piece of paper and some letters.
You need a paper.
They don't even use the cups. Well, it's if they want them to spell things out.
Oh, no.
Usually it's like cards, right? When you're reading, cards are for the client, the sitter. And I feel that the Ouija boards are the same thing.
I've had glasses go all over the place. I've done table tipping. I've done like table walking.
Yeah, be careful what you ask for.
It's really not hard. You don't need to go to those extremes.
No.
Dolly.
Dolly says awareness includes truth serving. Do not believe anyone. Research it yourself. Yeah, and even when you're researching, know where you are. There's a lot of false information out there. You have to cross-reference
everything.
You should check everything. I have a cousin who is a professor at Toronto U, and she's written textbooks and everything, and she will fact check your posts on Facebook. Say, I don't think that's right. No, because she's finding out that, like, especially when they're news clips, when they're on the news, they have to be real, right? She will say that's false news and blah, blah, blah. And here it is. And here's whatever, because she doesn't, what she's trying to do is not one up you. She's trying to keep you from living in fear.
Yes.
And when you post things like that, you drop the energy, the collective energy. This is what we're trying to put out there. When you post negativity, when you're showing all these videos and you're invoking fear, we're dropping that frequency, and then we're putting each other in danger. Jolly says, learn all that is learnable, then proceed.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Kelly wants to know, do these phone apps work?
Okay. All right. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say, again, a lot of it is intention. I did events at a huge location in Toronto for about 5 years. And I was testing. I had been given the story. They give you the average story because part of this event, for 5 years was bringing people in to investigate the location, which was never open for investigations. And you had about 180,000 minimum square feet of haunted to be able to investigate. So I often get, apps sent, things like that. And I go, can you try this? Can you try this? Back then more so, because I don't involve myself as much in the research part of it on site anymore. And I tried this one phone app, and I love it. I really do. And I started just basically, hey, anybody here? I thought I would just test it out because it's a benign place to test it out. It was all very friendly. Location was a great place for people. Remember, we talked about earlier going to public places at events that open up so you can learn how to things. I would teach people how to do things. I would teach them the history, teach them about equipment, teach them about, how to do things properly, how to do proper EVPs. And I had Melissa and Adriana, who's in chat, were doing the events with me. So I tried this one app, and I asked questions, and they gave me a whole pile of answers. And I was just like, okay. So I went to the curator of this establishment and I said, what's the relevance to this and this? And she went full on, well, back then we had blah, 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 blah. The owner of the house at the time, blah, 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 did this and this and this and this, and nailed every aspect of it. And I'm like, okay, so it works. Then I came to find out years later that there was actually a built-in GPS. So it may have had information based on the location.
Yeah, wow.
And a lot of people get fooled with that. But what made this one more credible is I remember saying to the curator, I said, is this common knowledge? And she said, only half of the information I gave you was common knowledge. Because all the rest of it, nobody would know. I was like, okay, that's what I was interested in. What wouldn't be, on the GPS gives you a location, but what other information is it actually giving you? Because internet has everything now.
I love that. You're right. Yeah. Well, you're always right, but you know what I mean? I'm glad that you've got a chance to
experiment. But
to
that's what
explain
proper research is. I could have left it at that and went, oh, wow, I got all my answers. No, I want to know more. I want to know how this thing actually works. But I owned actual 2 or 3 of that piece of equipment. So when the app came out, I sort of looked at it and was like, okay, so does it work like this or like this? Is it similar? Let's face it, phones right now are mini computers.
Oh.
So when you get an app on it, there's an app for pretty much everything. And a lot of it works no different than your computer would work. But look, it's up to you to investigate what makes it tick and what makes it work. It's not just, necessarily great programming. It's it does have a built-in GPS, or it does have a built-in, library of all of this information. Just do your homework on it, because, and again, with Ouija boards and stuff, are you dealing again? Is it an intention thing? Mindset again. Right?
And can I interject? Because I did this. Don't try it at home.
Don't try it at home, kids. I know.
No.
It's true. So
don't try it at home. And I can tell you that this particular app did work because it actually gave me clear directions to where it was. Yes, this entity. Yeah, that was an eye opener. I thought, this isn't going to work.
Interesting.
Yeah, this isn't going to work. Meanwhile,
duh.
Yeah.
And this is a good point too. That
yes, Adrian says, if spirits can manipulate a ghost box, then can humans also manipulate spirits?
Yeah, it's the same thing when you're using a Ouija board. Okay, you can actually manipulate all those answers. If they're, again, you can move things around very easily. I experimented with Ouija boards, like through research. We were, haunted locations, and that's what it was for. It was for research. These people don't want to get rid of their spirits. The spirits are very interactive. And I would basically sit there and I would ask questions, or I would, have somebody else ask questions. And whatever I put in my mind is what the planchette or the glass would do. Whatever I put in my head, answer yes for this. And it was funny with some cases, because I remember working with somebody. It's not funny. Like, don't get me wrong. It's not funny in the respect that people can get themselves in trouble. But I got, I guess, called in to do an intervention for somebody who was like addicted to the whole, he was using an ashtray and things were going on, but all this crazy stuff was going on in the house. But he didn't feel threatened by it. He wasn't scared of it. They were just trying to get him to stop. They didn't think it was healthy for him. And he said to me, he goes, I can make this thing do anything I want. And I'm going, okay, do it. So he started getting things. I watched him. He had this big glass ashtray moving around. And I said, okay. And I said, can I try? And he goes, oh, yeah, I don't think you're going to do it, but okay, you try. I'm like, okay, I'm going to give it a shot anyway, right? It's like, okay, whatever. So the thing starts moving around, and I just went like this. I went, and it came to me, and I went like this. And in my mind, I'm like, don't move. Don't you move. That's all it took. And he's like, okay, I'm going to get this thing to come back. I watched this guy for 15 minutes move this thing about on his own. But all I had to do was that. And it stopped. Why? I was just better at manipulating it. Maybe if there's a spirit that maybe was just scared of me. I don't know. Say what you mean what you say, follow through. Take charge. Whatever it was, and then I sat there. It says, okay, go up and down my arm. And it sat there and moved up and down my arm like this. And I looked at him and he goes, that's impossible. It says, then take it from me. Mm-hmm. He couldn't. I just said, don't move. In my mind, I said, don't you dare. So what is that? That's manipulation, or the spirit basically is like, no, I'm not doing this. Like, what is it exactly?
Help with your mindset and your intention too, that you weren't going to take it.
Yeah.
You can't do that out of fear.
Yeah. Adriana's with Cannes Most Haunted.
Yes, we always do historical research.
Oh,
she does.
Always. And Adriana did a lot of my research.
I'm not the researcher. Yeah. Tamara says, research and remain open to new information or views as new information is surfacing all the time.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
I have a firm statement. When people get into the field, I always say, listen, don't speak. Listen and don't speak. When you find someone who's credible, who's got a ton of experience, listen, don't speak. And when you have other people that are telling you their experiences, don't one up, don't interrupt, just listen. You will learn something every time. If you're talking, you can't learn anything. You have to listen to other people's experience. I don't care how much experience you have. You're going to come across something that you've never seen or heard before. And
when you're done, I'd like to add on that.
No, you go right ahead.
No, when you're done.
I am.
We got called into an investigation at one point. Melissa came with me to this one. And because I find it very difficult to listen and saying and lining up with what Amelia's saying, to listen. It's important that you listen to what the people tell you, because the people, they're the ones living there. They're the ones having the experiences. And it's important that they talk and get it off their chest. And I was brought in by another group. And these people talked for 3 hours. And there was all kinds of stuff going on around. And that's why Melissa was there. She was there to go in with the other team and say, okay, what's going on? And she would document it. She would, and she would look at me. With my teams, we just look at each other and I know by a certain look, I'd be like, all right, I understand. Weirdly enough, you just do when you work with people for a really long time. And there was one specifically, he was so perturbed that the interview process took so long. And I'm like, you just don't understand. This is not about you. This isn't about me. It's not about you. It's not about anybody here except for this family. And they are not done talking about their fears and their experiences. And in talking, they were remembering other things. This woman kept a journal. She went out, she says, oh my God, I have a journal and I know where it is. That's important. Years, right?
That's important to be able to help them. You need to know everything.
It's just like, so it's not about anybody else but the family that asked you to come in and help them. You're not there doing them a freaking favor. You should be humble that they thought enough of you to ask them to help them. Okay, so this is where, if you have the right mindset as a researcher, as soon as you go into a place and do exactly like Amelia said, just listen.
even to other investigators. Like, if you're coming to Michelle, don't talk. Just listen. You can learn a lot from her. Don't
But we
I
could
just
all learn
I,
from each other
yeah,
if
I
we.
think it's important to know your place. And when I say that, I don't mean in a belittling way. I mean, we all have certain strengths. It's not a competition on who gets the answer. It's about helping the family.
Family,
So you
exactly.
look at strengths. Michelle and I know each other's strengths, and we will stand back and say, "You've got this one. I've got that one." How many times do I say,
Like,
"I'm going to
Bubbles, get in
pass
there.
this to Michelle"? Pardon?
I'll be like,
What?
Bubbles, get in there.
Yeah. Okay, you need to get in this because whatever. This is a crime thing. I need you there. It's
No,
just
but
different.
seriously.
You have to know. And I would never to attempt to try and do what Michelle does, and vice versa. It's just different. We
Mm,
all have different gifts. We all have
our
different
strengths.
strengths,
Hmm.
and we have to respect each other, no matter how big or small your team is. Respect and know you work better together and help more people when you know your place. That's all I mean. Like, yeah, you can be really good at everything, but you're really a master at something. Focus on
Everybody.
being really good at that.
But always remember,
Like, I can research, but I'm not a researcher like Michelle is.
I've been doing it a
It's
long time though.
yeah, but it's
That's
just
all it
you
is.
have that drive too, right? And it's different. But
But we go
know
in
your place.
knowing.
Wayne makes good
Oh
home fries.
my,
I haven't had
yes,
them
he
yet. I
does.
don't know.
But we know, going into any scenario that it's not about us. Sometimes it's not even just about the family. Sometimes it is about the spirits. It is that simple. Lord only knows we learned that when we went to the haunted forest. It's just like, you know what? We're a little bit out of our element. Not that the,
Not
the,
leave, just
the, the
element. Yes.
experience was, I had no problem dealing with it. But we had so many spirits trying to help us saying, go now, go. Like, they worried for us. They were like, you know what? This is spirits. You don't realize that when you are in a location with a lot of malevolent beings, spirits take risks. You know, spirits take risks in helping because there are malevolent, non human things that can very easily drain energy from a spirit and leave them like a minute little energy. If they're grounded, it's really hard. If you're an ascended spirit, it's really, really different. Got me totally. Yeah. But we knew enough, even at that point, um, to walk away. Cut your losses.
I know enough not to walk in.
Live to fight another day, dang it. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I know better. I'm just
Some
not
people
going
like,
in there.
nah, I'm good. I'm not going to do it. Like
I'm
Bubbles,
good.
I'm
I
not
told
going
you
to do it.
if we ever go, I'll just wait for you down at the bottom
Oh,
of the hill.
no. It's 4 kilometers in. You're so coming along. We're going to drag your
Oh,
ass in
I
there.
can wait half
Yeah,
a kilometer
I know.
away.
No. Throw you over our shoulders. You'll go kicking and screaming, but you'll have a good time.
Oh, it's not that I wouldn't. I just know that I'm too open. I would be very quiet. I know that because we've done work together, and lesson learned. Uh-oh.
Oh,
Adrian says, "Why is All Hallows Eve a designated date for a thin veil? Is there science or astrology behind it?" That's a really good question,
you'd
and then
actually
we'll take our break after that.
Yeah, you'd
Yeah.
actually be surprised because a lot of people will think it's All Hallows Eve. I think that's just part of again, maybe the conditioning. There are some people that believe the veil is the thinnest. If you get back to some of the pagan holidays, like even like the winter solstice, there's a lot of
My mother.
precautions against walking or spirits wandering in. They believe at that point the coldest nights bring in, these spirits. So there's a lot that you can research about that. I don't know so much that that's the night per se, and astrology behind it. Oh, very possibly. Yes.
Tune in tomorrow.
A lot has to. Tune in tomorrow. Micah Danks is on.
Micah Danks on. You can ask him that question.
Yes.
Yeah, tune in tomorrow. Seriously.
Yeah.
Nobody knows more than he does. My gosh. I was just going to say, I've told you this before, and I think I've said on the show that my mom believed the end of the year. I don't know if it was winter solstice that she was saying. I just recall because my first child that I had lost was actually due Christmas Day. And she said to me, if you can, try and hold it till the new year. I go,
sure, Mom. I'm gonna
that's
hold the
6
birth.
days, Ma. 6 days. Like, I can't.
Just do your best.
She's like,
work
no.
it.
She goes, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. But my mom ended up passing away that year. But she said, it's a blessing. Of course, it's a blessing. And I'm thinking, oh, poor kid's going to be born on Christmas Day. I know people who are born on Christmas Day, and it's not that fun when you get birthday gifts and Christmas wrapping. But, I remember her saying that the child bears the weight of the entire year on their shoulders.
Right.
That's what she used to say.
Right.
They bear the weight of the entire year. And I never understood that until we started working together. And then I understood what she meant was the veil was so thin and anything could happen. And they hold the energy of that year.
Yes.
I think that might have had something to do a little bit with the sign as well. Right. Astrology.
It may be. We actually have an astrologer coming on. I think it's
third visit tomorrow. No, you mean astrologer?
Yeah. It's definitely coming.
I don't remember when, but
in fact, I think she's Micah Dank's astrologer.
Yes,
you referred her. I'm like, right on.
That's
excellent.
Who referred you.
So I think it's our 10:30 mark. Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to do that right now. I'm just clicking on it. Because I have to have this written down and flagged. Yes. You are listening to The Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano, coming to you live from the beautiful city of New Orleans on 105.3 FM radio. Tonight we've got us in the house and you in the house. We're all about question and answers and having one heck of a conversation tonight. ETs, UFOs. Oh my gosh, paranormal videos. It's just nonstop. You guys are amazing. We love our audience. We love our chat room. If you miss this or you want to catch a show that you haven't heard or you want to hear one again, every time you listen, you'll learn something new from our guests. They're amazing, the best in their field. Stream or listen to the archives on the platform that you normally use. A shout out and a huge thank you to our main sponsor and our sponsor from the very beginning, fully sponsors our show, Folgers Coffee. Thank you so much. We love you. No one loves you more than we do.
Exactly. And in honor of Paranormal Night and Folgers, Miss Renee Dykes.
Hi, Renee Dykes here. I'm with Paranormal Adventure Events. Also, my team is Tennessee Night Stalker Paranormal Intrigue. And as people know, when you go on ghost hunt, you've got to have the go juice. And what's scarier than the mug that I have right here is not having this right here. I even carry my own K-cup coffee maker with me, a little mini, when I go on ghost hunts around other states. Yeah, that's how dedicated I am to Folgers. Thank you.
Cool. I just want to also say thank you to for our intro and outro, Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon. It's okay. Right. Justin Snicker, award-winning composer and musician. You can find his music on Amazon and Bandcamp, and find him, follow him. Make friends with him on Facebook and Instagram. Check out his music. He often posts clips.
And Spooky Month is coming. So let's, you know what? I think people should be doing Spooky Folgers commercials for Spooky Month.
Absolutely.
People. See, you never know.
Well, Halloween stuff's already out. Just saying. It's already out there. Costco's already got it going. Not that they pay for us to say that, but
No, that's true. But you know what? You never know. I think it's great advertising for people. It's great advertising for Folgers. It's great advertising for people who send in the commercials because it doesn't go away. You're sitting here in front of almost 3 million people.
People pay for that spot.
It sits in the archive forever.
Yeah. And sponsors pay for that spot. Yeah.
Right. And they do listen. Folgers actually listens and watches the show.
You never know. You might be contacted to release your creative rights to your video. You just never know.
You just never know. Wayne Murphy has got like a perfect radio voice. He's done 3 of them for us.
Yeah.
I know. He's fantastic.
Yeah.
So
he is.
It's like Ken Keyser was in here earlier. Hey, Ken, come on, get us a Folgers commercial. So, like you get people saying, we're going to work on it. Dolly's done a couple. We think we paid one of Dolly's last week too. So it's just
Dolly sings.
It's true. One of them she does sing. Actually, you know what? let's just like go ahead and do this. Give me 1 second.
Let's hear her. Folgers.
The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
There we go. Woo-hoo.
I love that.
Golly. I know, it's great.
It's time for another one. It's time. Maybe you and Preston can do one together.
It does not have to be a long one.
No.
We love Dolly. We do.
Yeah, we do.
I know, it's great. Actually, Bart Sharp did one. I've got to find a way to retrieve it because it's a little bit longer. And he is in one of the sacred caves in the south of France.
No way! With Folgers?
He doesn't have any cup or anything, and he's giving a full-on commercial, and he's being filmed up on this
I can't wait to see it.
Stone wall in a cave.
Oh,
so I know.
I can't wait.
I am trying to retrieve it, and I am trying to get this thing because I want to play it.
Wow.
He's done 2 versions, and he's used the second one. It's like, I kind of like them both.
Well, Carrie says I saw it on his Facebook page.
Is it there? It's on his
Facebook.
Facebook. Carrie, I'm going to go freaking snag it off his Facebook. I've been fighting with his YouTube. Here, go to my YouTube. I made it for you.
I'm going to go and look at it.
It's freaking ridiculous on freaking YouTube. So I'm going to go in and find it on his Facebook.
That's it.
Art and I actually work like once a week, all the time. We do a lot of energy work, planetary energy work, and he's just a hoot. So I said, make me a Folgers commercial. He goes, I want to. Then do it. Okay.
Yeah. And we'll get a proper one from the Relic Hunters as well shortly because they're coming up in a couple weeks.
And Dolly says it was well, yeah, they
morning
are coming
voice. You have a beautiful voice, Dolly.
You do. I'm trying. You do all right, girl. You do all right. Never mind.
Yeah.
So, but okay. So we're down now.
He has both clips. He's got 2.
What?
He's got 2 clips on Facebook.
Who? Yes, he does.
Bart.
Yeah, he's got 2. Yes.
I can't wait.
Gonna grab them.
He's setting the bar high, 2 at a time.
On the soundboard. Yeah, one is better than the other one, he says. So I've got them both queued up. I've got to it's like, yes, okay, it's not letting me take it because you see sometimes SoundCloud or Sound Streaming rather gets a little bit finicky, shall we say. Finicky.
Yeah, rights and stuff.
I know. But so we've got roughly 20 minutes before we have to start getting into all these commercials and stuff again. So if you have any questions, now be the time. What?
I have a note.
I have a note.
I have a note.
Right.
I wrote a note because I didn't want to forget this because there was a gentleman, again, I did the TikTok paranormal. It's not that I am on TikTok a lot, but I watch the comedy things. I laugh so hard on TikTok. When I'm feeling down or I'm tired, I don't want to watch television. I don't want any of that energy. I go on TikTok and I watch the puppies and the babies and the funny videos. Like I laugh so hard. It lifts my spirit. And remember that when you go to sleep, that energy level that you're at is what carries you through the night and is the way you wake up. So it's important to go to sleep content, relax, nice high vibration and not be so hard on yourself. Tomorrow's another day. But we're so hard on ourselves that then you have a crappy sleep because you're thinking all this negative stuff and it goes into that dream state. So I try to watch funny videos, whether it's YouTube or TikTok, but lately TikTok. When I was going through the paranormal stuff, I saw someone who I respect very much, and he posted, it was more of a public announcement. Mm-hmm. And he said he is too often recently seeing a lot of disrespecting indigenous spirits in videos. And he's asking for you to stop. And he's telling you to stop tempting fate by disrespecting indigenous spirits. Now, I can't remember what video it is, and I don't give out that information, but I thought that was an important message to get across because often in investigations, people will start off by going to a place where there's some history, and there's a lot of history with indigenous people. Mm-hmm. And I believe he was referring to the residential schools because the Pope is in Canada right now. Right. And you can create a lot of harm by being there, and it's not a joke. And that's what he means by disrespecting. This is not a joke. This is not something for you to play with. They have shamans that go in, and their chiefs and their tribal leaders that go in to keep these sites sacred. Yes. And you are going in and messing with that. Now, if you have trouble understanding that, take it into this perspective: somebody going to your loved one's gravesite and wreaking havoc and trying to communicate with them. So I'll just leave it there. I just wrote a note to make sure that I didn't forget to mention it. So I'm glad that I caught it on the side there, because I was so moved by that. We often do these war sites and things like that, and we forget that they were there, and that their tribes have gone in there to keep these sites sacred and safe, to keep their ancestors safe.
A lot of people, do energy work. I mean, the indigenous, absolutely. It's the same in Australia. All the Aboriginal people in the area do the same thing. It's no different than people who say, prayers for the dead, in the churches. And there's a lot of intention that goes out to being able to comfort the spirits, and when we're dealing with the indigenous, it's comforting the land, the ancestors, it's keeping balance. And sometimes people don't realize when they go in, they disrupt that balance.
What's already been set up. Yeah.
Oh, exactly.
And I watch we have an Aboriginal channel in Canada, and they have a ghost show, a spirit show.
They do, yeah.
And I watch that because I love to learn how they interact with their spirits and their ancestors, and the great respect that they have. You will never see them jumping in there provoking. You will never see any of that grandstanding and
I think they post some stuff on Canada's Most Haunted page, Amelia. You can look on there.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
Actually, they do follow, and they have posted stuff.
Yeah, I follow the APTN on TikTok and their Instagram, and I just learn so much from them when I watch them. I'm so humbled and so appreciative that they're sharing it with us, so that we can better work together. And also because I live on land that, was affected that way as well. And I've put out not only the War of 1812, but I put out plaques to honor and thank them for allowing me to live on their land. And I keep that up by not just planting, but also having these plaques on my house in the back that says thank you. And I have
good.
Yeah, I've got tons of trees. But we planted a lot. We do plant a lot, and we do have fruit trees that we don't even eat from, but we give it away so that, and put some on the earth as well. But through some readings and some work a long time ago, when I'm talking about 10 years ago, I learned who the chief was and his name, and that's what's on the plaque, is thanking them. And I think it's very important to respect all cultures and religions, regardless of what you think. Oh, yes, Mama, bury tobacco near trees on your land. Thank you. I will do that. Thank you.
It's funny, while we're talking about
I watch Christmas movies
indigenous people, there's a show on right now on Travel Channel in the US, and it's indigenous people who were sent by the elders to go to the town of Portsmouth, which is in Alaska. Apparently, way back when, like 20s, well, not even, probably like the 70s, actually. So pretty recent. And the history goes back all the way to the 16 and 1700s. But going back a few decades ago, this is where their tribal people lived. But they have a name for the Bigfoot that's in the area. People were showing up dead, partially eaten. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
It would seem that the Bigfoot of the area did not want to share the land, and they were killing people. I think there was something like over 20 some people that had died. Some had gone missing.
Oh my gosh.
And stories going back to Spanish settlers coming through the area, reports of being sick, just all kinds of stuff. We probably have logical,
Yeah,
like scurvy, things like
1500s.
that.
Yeah.
But there was also a story there that goes back to there were where
Oh,
people would hide.
Portlock, Alaska.
Right?
Thanks, Wayne.
Portlock, and there was the story was that the people would go into the woods and hide from the giants because these giants would kidnap and eat people. Like, it is a crazy story. It is a fantastic show. And these are all Indigenous people sent by the elders to investigate if this is still the case, or is there still something there? Are they angry? Can peace be made? Because their resources where they are running low, and they want to move back to Portlock. I'll put this up, guys. Watch it. Just go. And I can't remember what. Do we know what it's called? Is it Bigfoot in Alaska?
Do you want something? Nantinnuk. Do you want us to
This is
Google
the
search
name.
it?
Yeah.
Sure. Oh, that's the name. Nantinnuk?
That's the name of the Bigfoot. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, he'll know it because we watch it. But
Wayne doesn't forget anything.
We watch it. It's amazing, a really amazing show. So it goes to show you, like, the respect that they have while investigating and communicating. And I have to tell you, they are experiencing so much. There's constantly stuff going on. I don't think there's been one episode where something hasn't gone on. One guy, kids call Killer Bigfoot. Okay.
Wow.
There's something that happens in every segment. And when they're scared, they're scared. They're like, we don't care. We're not here to be big shots.
That's interesting.
We're freaking terrified. One guy actually left and said, I can't do this. I'm terrified. And he was replaced by somebody else. So if you guys can see it, if you can find it, watch it. It is fantastic. It really is.
Oh, I can't
and you
wait.
see they try to honor the traditions, and the elders will speak, and then you have people from the tribe itself who will speak and say, no, I remember this. This happened. We were
Kira just added it
There
to
you
watch.
go.
Where did you find it?
It's on Travel Channel.
Travel. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's in the US,
yeah, but that's
it might be
US. Is
but
it
it
here?
might be on here.
I'll check.
Maybe History Channel here. I don't know.
Yeah.
We have
Sometimes it's just on a different. It's either history or Discovery. It's on something else.
I have all American television, so I don't know what the channels are here, unfortunately.
You notice I only give you suggestions on
got the
time and
app
stuff
on my
like
phone.
that.
There you
Just
go.
letting you know. Oh, the app on your phone. Very
There we go.
cool.
There's an app that works.
I like what Tamara said. Some tribes had peace treaties with Bigfoot. I didn't know that. Tamara said Discovery. Okay.
Discovery Plus. Yeah.
In
Clearly, these guys did not have one. But I find it interesting how it's not just Bigfoot, but they talk about a race of giants that came down, kidnapped people, and ate them. And this goes back like a long time.
Told me that before, though.
Creepy, though.
I think you told me something about there was suspicions that there may have been giants that actually were cannibals and ate.
There's a lot of there were giants throughout all the world. Let's face it. I could do without the eating people part, but then there's cannibals in the jungle that still eat people.
There's tribes in jungles everywhere that we know nothing of that are cannibals. I mean, come on, Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, I have to do everything's a pop culture reference with me because I watch every movie. But yeah, it's just because it's easier to reference with people. Usually, it's just easier. People understand it more. But
I met a guy who spent 5 years in the Amazon with a tribe who were cannibalistic, and they showed him how to shrink heads. And he owned 5 actual shrunken heads. And one that wigged me out, okay? You see the tribal ones, because they believe that by shrinking the head, they would trap the soul in the head. So the soul could not move on. So he showed me, I had filmed a segment with this man, and he goes, what do you think of these? These are all genuine. And I'm going, oh yeah. But some of them were very tribal. They were from other tribes. And you're like, okay, you see it's typical shrunken head. Then he showed me this little Caucasian head of a little of a man with red hair and a little red mustache. I went, come on, please tell me that's like completely fabricated. He goes, that is real. He goes, and if I'm not mistaken, because they gave them to him, right?
Yeah, but they can test that by
It was somebody,
biology. Yeah.
well, they knew it was, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh no,
it's
his
easy
collection.
to test.
I own a couple of pieces from his collection. He's
Not
you know,
shrunken heads.
no, those
Okay.
actually those got sold off at auction after he passed. But
Oh, wow.
allegedly, the story was this individual may have gone in there to try and, I don't know, talk religion. And that's what they thought about that. They just weren't quite ready for
How
that
does
sort
one
of thing.
shrink a head?
Oh, there's a formula. He gave me a
Yeah.
T-shirt. He goes,
There's
he
a
did.
T-shirt with it.
He
You can
turned
get
a
a T-shirt in anything. That's all I'm
No,
telling you.
seriously, on the back of the T-shirt were instructions
Oh,
on how to
lordy.
shrink a freaking head.
And people probably think it's a joke because it's a
I
T-shirt.
had 3 or 4 of them. My kids are like, oh, they wanted them, and one ended up. Can my friend have one? He collects oddities. I'm like, I don't care, but I'm keeping one because it was a gift,
Yeah.
But it was
it's so unique too.
the recipe, I guess you could say, on how to shrink a freaking head.
Wow.
Right?
That is insanity. Yeah,
Right?
they're so easy to test because they just check for biological material. It's very simple to know if something was human
and
or
then
not.
you preserve it. Yeah, that's right.
They peel off the skin and boil the skull. Should I ask how you know
And
that?
you put everything back on. No, it's crazy.
Should I ask how you know that though?
To marry out shrinking heads. So, yeah, I don't know, but you know what? It's just like there's just stuff out there that is still pretty freaking mind blowing when you think about it. It's like, heck.
History Channel. Okay, just
There we
checking
go.
because I don't know. Is there any family members or friends missing?
Things that make you go,
Yeah.
But it really is, it is fascinating. I think part of, being in this field, when you first start out, you are, we're all green at some point. And I learned and I learned and I learned. I didn't just take certain things at face value. I research and research. I believe in learning something new every day. And I love the knowledge of it. I love that it is unexplained. It is on the outer realms. It is out of this world. It is supernatural. There's so much. And when you get to a point where I just got to a point in the paranormal, I'm still learning. There's still stuff I want to learn, but I just find that you get to a standpoint and you're like, I think I have learned as much as I can learn, at least within the working part of this. There are things that, when we're working, something just comes to me. Okay, let's try this. And it works. I think you just go through trial and error. And I think that there's just other things that tell you what you should be doing if you're paying attention. Now I think, the paranormal thing is sort of not passe because there's still a lot of new shows coming out. But I do think that ufology is now coming to the forefront in a different way, because all of a sudden, all the things that they misrepresented, even in the paranormal field, starting to see it with ufology. Don't believe everything that you're seeing out there. Don't live in fear because, aliens are coming to do you harm. There's some new movie that's out too. My daughter just saw it. She goes, it was crazy. It was a crazy freaking movie. And I don't say the name because I don't want to blow it for anybody, but it was a really interesting concept. And she goes, I don't really think I can think about aliens right now. And I'm like, oh, facepalm.
Oh, I know
like,
what you're talking about.
What?
I just saw the preview for it. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I'm like, you can't even look at
this.
It's
a very, very intriguing film.
I know. She goes, yeah, throw in a crazy monkey or something in there, a gorilla or whatever. She goes, just for good measure. She goes, but she goes, it really wigged me out. I'm like, so again, it's an amazing story, but we've been listening to amazing stories in the paranormal about UFOs, that about cryptids. Like one of my favorite movies out there is Mothman Prophecy.
Oh my God. Yes.
Right?
We're both on that one.
Right?
Yeah. Mothman Prophecies, I'm still convinced is something else.
Well, yes. And you know what? I said to Joe, I says, the Gray Zone we have to do a show just on Mothman. I came across a treasure trove of Mothman information and international. And I'm like, I want to include this somehow because the movies always fascinated me. And of course, the person who wrote it, he was also a ufologist. So there's some connections in there. You know what I mean? So there's some connections between them all. Oh, Dolly, get some hot water.
Good luck with that. You can always boil it. That's the great thing about not having not having water at all is another story.
Let's connect up tomorrow. Big hugsies.
Oh.
But yeah, so I don't know. All I'm saying
Mothman is going to Chicago. Really? Like new sightings, you mean, just recently? If you want to watch a crazy butt film, and because anyone who's listening is obviously into what we're into, watch the new multiverse film with Doctor Strange. I didn't like the film Doctor Strange. Right. I saw the multiverse and I messaged Michelle right away. You need to put this on your list because this touches on everything that we've ever talked about. I couldn't
it's on the list.
Freaking believe it.
Yes.
Couldn't believe it.
Okay, guys, we are here again. We've come to the end of the show. I'm sorry. It's been so much fun. I'm just going to tell you, we have another Q&A in August. We're going to try to go back to the once a month thing if possible. We might have to change a couple dates around because we can't do them too soon, and people expect we're going to do them more. And we just, as much as we all love to do it, because it's a really fun laid back show, we really can't get into it too much. So again, thank you to everybody who tuned in. We really appreciate you guys. The chat rooms have been really full and great questions, great comments. I totally lost what I was going to say. Tomorrow night, Micah Dank returns and he's going to be doing, I guess, his research on decoding and deciphering astrology in the Quran. He's done the Book of Enoch with us. He's done the Bible with us. He's going to do the Quran.
I don't know anything about
questions, of course.
Cool.
And it should be a lot of fun. If you need to get a hold of us, please email theouterrealmcontact@gmail.com. theouterrealmcontact@gmail.com. A lot of people writing in that want to be on the shows, and we've got a lot of people who want to come back. So we're going to be doing some scheduling there as well. If you like the content, please go to YouTube and subscribe. It's really important. And if you see us on Facebook, again, just throw a follow or a like up there. Mm-hmm. No matter where that we're streaming on, just show us a little bit of love. God's sakes, people. Until then, we're going to leave you with, I believe, we're going to be leaving you with this podcast award. This is a thing. So good night, everybody. And thank you for tuning in. And here we go.
It's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcast. There are 5 shows I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards, the longest-running premier awards event in the podcasting space, open to shows worldwide. Vote at podcastawards.com to nominate the following shows: Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast in 3 categories: education, storyteller drama, and art. This show is based on the world-famous Writers of the Future contest created in 1983 by L. Ron Hubbard and provides advice and tips from contest judges, international best-selling authors, world-class artists, contest winners, and industry professionals for writers and illustrators wanting to take their next step, along with needed inspiration to keep going. The next one is The Centralist in the category of politics and news. The Centralist is a much different news and political program which is not deemed as opinion news. Listen as Joe Montaldo brings you just the facts from trusted sources which will allow you, the people, to make up your own minds on the various stories being reported on. The next one is UFO Undercover in the category of entertainment. This show brings you some of the most revealing and current research that is being done with respect to alien abductions and contact. Host Joe Montalda has been an abduction researcher for over 35 years and is uniquely qualified to bring you live interviews with some of the most well-known researchers in ufology. The next one is The Outer Realm in the category of Best Female Hosted Podcast. The Outer Realm is a very popular show hosted by Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano, which has millions of listeners each week. They are well known for their laid-back, roundtable style of interviewing. Together, this dynamic duo brings you the best of the best, with guests from around the world who are well-versed within their respective fields of ufology, paranormal, cryptozoology, folklore, and anything else that would be deemed outside the realm of normal. The next one is Chasing Prophecy in the category of Society and Cultures. Take a ride down the rabbit hole with Jenny Nicasio, Sean Kelly, and Jason Iampietro, where each episode brings a roundtable approach to conversations about supernatural phenomena, hidden secret societies, underground bunkers, magical conspiracies, the paranormal, cryptic creatures, aliens, ghosts, legends, and myths from around the world. Chasing Prophecy dives into topics that entice the imagination and seduce the mind, some of which are taboo. So go to podcastawards.com and vote for these 5 shows and any others you enjoy listening to. That's podcastawards.com. Take a moment and go out and vote.